In the kingdom of Ngwume, the sacred drum brought rain and peace. When it needed a new keeper, the king sent General Uke's 3 sons to find the drum's voice in the cave of whispers. Brave Ikenna fought beast but ignored the needy. Clever Tobechi used trickery but spoke no pure truth. Gentle Amadi helped all he met. At the cave, only Amadi's kindness unlocked the drum's voice. Returning home, his touch made the drum beat and rain fall. The drum chose him keeper, proving that strength and cunning matter less than a compassionate heart that serves others selflessly. You don't want to miss this powerful, emotional and life-changing story filled with lessons that will stay with you, so sit back, relax and grab your popcorn. Let's dive into this unforgettable journey, and if you're just tuning in on our channel, kindly click on the subscription button and also give this story a thumbs up. The kingdom of Ngwume was a land of red hills and green valleys, where the drum spoke before the people did. At its heart stood the Hall of Echoes, a tall stone building with bronze tiles that caught the morning sun. Inside the hall rested the sacred drum of Azu, resting on its carved pedestal like a sleeping lion. The people believed that the drum was the heartbeat of the land. When its rhythms roared across the hills, the rains came in their season, the crops grew in abundance, and the warriors returned from battle unharmed. But when the drum was silent for too long, the kingdom grew restless, the clouds withheld their rain, and shadows seemed to linger longer than they should. Every 10 years, the king would choose a keeper of the drum, the only person allowed to strike it during great festivals or times of need. This was no small honor. To be chosen was to be trusted with the very lifeblood of Ngwume. This year, the king's voice carried across the courtyard as he addressed the gathered crowd. His royal robe shimmered like the river at sunrise, and the carved staff in his hand bore the faces of his ancestors. King Odom, people of Ngwume, the time has come to choose a new keeper of the sacred drum. The spirits have whispered that the next keeper will be a son of the late General Uke, Ikenna, Tobechi, or Amadi. A murmur rippled through the crowd. General Uke had been a hero in the wars of the northern border, and his 3 sons were known far and wide. Ikenna, the eldest, stepped forward first. He was as broad as the village gate, his chest proud, his arms coated with muscle. Around his neck hung the leopard tooth he had taken from his first hunt. His voice was like a war drum when he spoke. Your Majesty, I will take the lion's path to the cave of whispers. I have faced beasts and men alike. No danger will stop me from bringing back the drum's voice. The people nodded. Ikenna was the kind of man whose strength seemed unshakable. Then Tobechi, the middle brother, moved forward with a slow, confident smile. His robe was simpler than Ikenna's leopard skins, but his eyes gleamed with a knowing light. Tobechi was a trader. He could walk into a market with a single bead and return with a bag of gold. I will take the trader's road, he said smoothly. I know the hidden paths, the old bridges, the secret markets where even spirits make bargains. I can bring back the drum's voice without spilling a drop of sweat. The people murmured again, some approving, some doubtful. Finally, Amadi, the youngest, stepped forward. He was neither as tall as Ikenna nor as quick-eyed as Tobechi. His hands were calloused from tending the sick, and his scent carried faintly of herbs. His voice was gentle, but there was a quiet strength in it. I will take the river's path, Amadi said. The water knows the way to places even feet have forgotten. It will guide me, if I listen. A few villagers exchanged puzzled glances. Why take the slow, winding way when there were quicker routes? The king lifted his staff high, and the courtyard fell silent. King Odom, the cave of whispers is where the drum's voice hides. But know this, strength alone will not open its gates, nor cunning alone, nor skill alone. The cave listens not to your steps, but to the truth in your heart. He looked at each brother in turn, his eyes as sharp as an eagle's. Go, sons of Uke. Return with the drum's voice, and let the sacred drum itself decide who is worthy. The palace drummers struck their instruments in a slow, steady beat, and the brothers bowed before the king. Their mother, Mama Nena, stood at the palace gates. Her eyes shone with both pride and worry as she gave each son a small calabash. Mama Nene to Ikenna, for your strength, I give you dried meat, it will keep your body strong. But remember, a hard fist cannot hold water. Mama Nene to Tobechi, for your cunning, I give you cowrie shells, you may trade them when needed. But remember, not every gate opens to silver tongues. Mama Nene to Amadi, for your kindness, I give you herbs, they may heal or soothe those you meet. But remember, even the gentle hand must sometimes hold firm. The brothers left the courtyard together, their shadows stretching long on the red dust road. The people watched until they reached the 3 branching paths. To the left, the lion's path vanished into the thorn plains. To the right, the traders' road wound through villages and market towns. Straight ahead, the river's path glimmered under the sun, its waters whispering secrets only the patient could hear. The brothers clasped hands once, firmly. Ikenna, we meet at the Cave of Whispers, and may the best man return with the drum's voice. Then they parted, 3 men, 3 journeys, 3 fates, as the sacred drum waited in silence for the one whose heartbeat matched its own. Ikenna and the lion's path. The sun was still low when Ikenna stepped onto the lion's path. The ground was dry and cracked, thorn bushes crowding the edges. In the distance, dust rose in slow spirals, signs of moving beasts. He walked with his spear balanced across his shoulders, each step purposeful. Before long, the roar of a lion roared across the plains. The great cat emerged, golden fur gleaming in the sunlight, its eyes locked on him. Ikenna planted his feet. I am Ikenna, son of Uke. This road belongs to me today. The lion sprang. In one fluid motion, Ikenna sidestepped and drove his spear into its side. The beast fell, and Ikenna pressed on without looking back. Next came a leopard, silent as smoke, dropping from a tree. Again, his strength prevailed. Then a wild boar, tusks flashing, another kill. By the time he neared the Cave of Whispers, his spear was stained, and his chest swelled with pride. At the mouth of the cave, mist curled like smoke. From it came a deep voice. Traveler, before you enter, give me the laughter of a child. Ikenna frowned. I have fought lions, leopards, and boars. I bring strength. I bring victory. The voice was unmoved. I do not ask for strength. I ask for the laughter of a child. But Ikenna had none to give. Along the way, he had passed children playing with cracked calabashes in the dust, their stomachs empty. He had not stopped for them, for he thought the cave would only care for strength. The mist thickened, blocking his way. He turned back, his heavy steps echoing on the plains. Tobechi and the traders rode. Tobechi moved quickly through the market towns. His cowrie shells flashed in his palm, his tongue smooth as palm wine. At each checkpoint, he bargained his way through. At the village of Mbola, a watchman blocked the bridge. The road is closed to strangers, the man said. And yet, Tobechi replied, slipping a cowrie into the man's hand, roads are built for travelers, not for those who block them. The man laughed and let him pass. He crossed another town where the market was full of shimmering cloth, dried fish, and baskets of kola nuts. Here, he overheard a hunter selling a map to a shortcut through the hills. Tobechi bargained until the hunter gave him the map for half the price. By evening, he reached the Cave of Whispers sooner than expected. He smiled, certain of his victory. At the entrance, the mist swirled again, and the same deep voice spoke. Traveler, before you enter, give me a truth you have never spoken. Tobechi opened his mouth, but nothing came. Every step of his journey had been paved with clever words, bargains, and half-truths. The voice was asking for something real, something bare, and his tongue faltered. The mist closed around him, and the cave vanished from sight. He too turned back, the sound of his own footsteps hollow in his ears. Amadi and the river's path. Amadi followed the river from the moment he left the palace gates. The water was clear at first, but soon it ran slow and muddy between tall grasses. Midway through the first day, he heard a frantic splashing. An injured heron was tangled in reeds, its wing bent. He waded into the water, freed it gently, and bound its wing with strips of cloth from his tunic. The bird looked at him with bright, black eyes before hopping to the bank. Later, he came upon two fishermen with empty nets. Their faces were lined with worry. "Here," Amadi said, sharing the dried meat his mother had given him. "It will not fill your nets, but it will fill your stomachs until the river is kinder." On the second day, he found an old widow sitting by the bank, her calabash overturned, its contents spilled. He knelt, gathered what could be saved, and fetched fresh water for her. By the third day, the river narrowed and slipped underground into a cave mouth covered in hanging vines. The mist there was cool, smelling faintly of rain. From within, the voice came. "Traveler, you have already brought what I asked for." The mist parted, and a soft, steady sound rose from the darkness, boom, 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 like a heartbeat. Amadi stepped inside, and the drum's voice wrapped around him like warm water. 3 brothers had set out. 2 had been turned away. Only 1 had entered the cave. The sun had barely risen when Amadi stepped out from the cave of whispers. In his hands, he carried nothing. No trophy, no object, no sign of victory, only the memory of the deep, rhythmic sound that had filled the cave and settled into his chest like a second heartbeat. The river's path carried him back toward Ngwume, its water glistening in the early light. Along the way, the heron he had rescued appeared again, gliding above him before vanishing into the clouds. The fishermen waved from the shore, their nets heavy with fresh catch, a gift of abundance they credited to his kindness. The widow, sitting before her hut, called out a blessing that seemed to follow him all the way to the palace gates. When he entered the courtyard of the Hall of Echoes, the people were already gathered. The air was thick with anticipation. Ikenna stood to one side, his broad shoulders stiff, his spear resting against his leg. His face was shadowed with frustration. Tobechi leaned against a pillar, arms crossed, his eyes sharp but unreadable. The king sat upon the high seat, his robe flowing around him like a river of gold. The sacred drum rested in front of him, silent, waiting. "King Odom, sons of Uke, you set out to bring back the drum's voice. Ikenna, what have you brought?" Ikenna stepped forward and struck his spear into the ground. "Ikenna, I have brought proof of my strength, beast slain on the lion's path. Let the drum answer me." He struck the drum once. It gave only a hollow thud, like a god without seats. "King Odom, Tobechi, what have you brought?" Tobechi bowed slightly. "Tobechi, I have brought knowledge of the hidden roads and the shortest way to the cave. Let the drum answer me." He struck the drum. Again, only a hollow thud. The people murmured uneasily. Finally, the king's eyes turned to Amadi. "King Odom, and you, Amadi, what have you brought?" Amadi bowed his head. "Amadi, nothing the hands can hold. I bring only what the river carried in me, the kindness given to those in need, and the sound the cave gave in return." The king gestured to the drum. Amadi placed both hands upon it and did not strike. He simply closed his eyes. And then, without being touched, the drum began to speak. A deep boom, 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 rolled across the courtyard, warm and steady. The sound seemed to fill the air, the earth, and the hearts of all who heard it. The sky above darkened with gathering clouds, and a cool wind swept through the crowd. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and fat drops of rain began to fall, gentle at first, then heavier, until the whole courtyard shone with wet stone and smiling faces. The king rose to his feet, lifting his staff high. "King Odom, the drum has chosen. The keeper of the sacred drum will be Amadi, whose heart beats in rhythm with the land." The people erupted in cheers. Women danced, men beat smaller drums in celebration, and children laughed, the very laughter that Ikenna could not give, ringing freely now through the rain. Ikenna stepped forward, his head bowed. Ikenna, little brother, I thought strength was enough. Today I see it is only part of the journey. Tobechi smiled faintly, shaking his head. Tobechi, you battered for nothing, Amadi, yet you returned with more than all of us. From that day on, Amadi played the sacred drum only when the need was true, at planting time, during droughts, and in times of sorrow. And the people of Ngwume remembered the lesson of the three brothers. Strength may defend, and cunning may survive, but it is the heart that leads. Moral of the story. True leadership is not won by strength or cunning alone, it comes from compassion, humility, and a heart that beats for others. And here comes the end of this powerful and amazing story. Kindly share your thoughts on the comment section, and if you're still joining us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel and don't forget to share this interesting story to your loved ones. Thank you so much, and do have a beautiful day ahead.